There is something sitting outside your window right now. It might be a robin on your gutter, or a pair of starlings cutting through the oak tree your street planted decades ago. You have lived beside these birds your whole life. You have fed them. You have photographed their eggs. And some of you, at some point, reached down and picked up a fallen baby bird from the pavement, held it gently, and placed it back where you thought it belonged. You thought that was kindness. You thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. What most people don't realize is that certain bird species carry a recognition system so sharp, so deeply wired into their biology, that a human interacting with their nest doesn't register as neutral. It registers as a threat. And once that line is crossed, it doesn't reset at the end of summer. It doesn't fade with the cold. In documented cases, it stays. For years, passed down, learned, remembered. Now, most of us grew up with the comfortable idea that birds don't really see us as individuals. That to a crow or a mockingbird, we're just a large, blurry shape moving through space, one mammal among millions, completely unremarkable. The research has quietly, firmly dismantled that idea. Back in 2009, a team led by researcher John Marsloff at the University of Washington put latex, caveman masks on volunteers and sent them out to capture and band wild crows on campus. Within days, crows that hadn't even been caught were already responding to those masks with brand alarm calls and aggressive dive bombing. The threat had spread through the flock socially, bird to bird, like a rumor passed through a crowd. When the researchers returned with the same masks in follow-up studies years later, the hostility hadn't faded. In some cases it had actually grown stronger. Crows born after the original captures had grown up hearing their parents' alarm call at that face, and they had learned from it. They dove at the mask with the same urgency as birds who had been there on day one. That is not instinct. That is culture, and it's been measured and replicated. The biological structure behind this is a region of the bird brain called the hyperpallium. In corvids and several other cognitively advanced families, this area is disproportionately large. It handles social memory, executive thinking, and something researchers describe carefully as mental state attribution, which is a technical way of saying the bird can model what you intend, what you represent, whether you are safe or not. In crows, this region functions at a level that draws genuine comparisons to the prefrontal cortex in primates. Separately, a study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that individual mockingbirds in urban Florida parks began targeting a specific researcher who had approached their nests, diving at only that person while completely ignoring every other human walking the same path, same park, same trail, different face. The birds were not reacting to people in general. They were reacting to him. And here is where things start to feel genuinely strange. Because you don't have to be aggressive to trigger this response. You don't have to cause harm. You don't even have to touch the bird. In species that nest near human homes, the threshold for what counts as a threat event is much lower than most people imagine. Standing near a nest for too long, leaning in to look, picking up a chick from the ground, and repositioning it, no matter how gently, no matter how well-meaning. From the parent bird's neurological perspective, something large and unknown made direct physical contact with its offspring. The fact that you meant well is not information the bird has access to, and more importantly, it's not information the bird's brain ever evolved to need. A parent that treats unknown contact as a threat raises more surviving offspring than one that assumes good intentions. Natural selection did not leave room for the benefit of the doubt. You were not communicating kindness. You were being filed away. What makes this even harder to shake off is how long it lasts. Studies on mockingbirds and crows both show retention periods that, relative to how long these animals actually live, suggest a single nest interaction could follow a bird for the rest of its life. And some long-term crow research points to something even more striking. What look like inherited threat profiles where the unusually high alertness of adult birds toward a specific person seems to have been passed to their young through alarm calls and behavioral modeling. A lineage of wariness built on one human encounter, possibly years before those young birds were even hatched. Now think about what these birds are actually seeing when they look at you. The avian visual system in most songbirds includes 4 types of cone cells. Humans have 3. That 4th cone opens up an entire channel of ultraviolet light that your eyes are completely joined to. What this means in practice is that a bird looking at your face is receiving more information than you receive looking at theirs. Your skin, your hair, the unique way your features reflect light in the ultraviolet spectrum, all of it combines into a biological portrait, richer and more detailed than anything your own mirror shows you. When researchers tried to fool face-recognizing mockingbirds with hats and different clothing, the birds weren't fooled. Same with crows. The face, and specifically the way it reads in ultraviolet, appears to function as a stable signature that gets stored with a precision we are genuinely just beginning to understand. And the bird isn't only using its own eyes. There is something behavioral ecologists call heterospecific eavesdropping, which is the ability to extract real threat information from the alarm calls of other species. The bird in your backyard is simultaneously processing its own perception and cross-referencing it against the vocalizations of every other bird within earshot. A warning call from one species can move through an entire neighborhood's bird community in under 30 seconds. If you have already been flagged, the information moves faster than you can walk to your mailbox. So here is where all of this lands. The bird you helped that afternoon, the one you held in your hands with genuine care, may have spent years afterward treating you as a confirmed danger. Its parents may have called alarms every time you stepped outside. Their offspring may have grown up learning your face as a threat. The birds on surrounding properties may have eavesdropped on those calls and quietly updated their own behavior toward you. All of it expanding outward from one moment of misread compassion, invisible to you, inaudible to you, running on frequencies your senses were never built to access. Your backyard is not a peaceful backdrop. It is a living, continuously updated, information-dense environment that has been watching you, categorizing you, and broadcasting its conclusions for longer than you have been paying attention. The next time you step outside and a bird on the fence looks back at you, it is worth asking yourself something honestly. Between the two of you, in that moment, who actually knows more about the other?